B, me name's Ethan, 27. Ride op at a medium-sized amusement park, squeezed between a strip mall and a loud interstate place called Cedar Ridge. Adventure's theme is half-dead cowboy stuff. Peeling paint everywhere. One big steel coaster. Everybody flexes on Instagram like it's Six Flags. My job is locking restraints, slamming the dispatch button, hearing teenagers lose their minds, hoping nobody throws up on my boots. Rules are basic: bars down, seatbelts clicked, no loose junk flying around. Don't care if your uncle rode it once without the belt. Old HR dude. Carl mostly existed to make sure summer hires signed paperwork and didn't smoke in the locker room. If he came near rides, it was usually to offer leftover burgers from some staff cookout one. Off-season, he retires, buys an RV, disappears from Existence Park, celebrates for like a day, then nobody even thinks about HR anymore. March preseason, meeting rolls around. They pack us into the employee cafeteria, smells like burnt coffee and leftover chlorine. From the drained water rides, park manager grabs the mic, starts hyping up a big cultural shift, says we've got a new hire to improve safety and workplace environment. Title sounds made up, Chief People and Safety Officer, screen lights up with a slideshow woman, early 30s. Sharp face, streak of blue in her hair, blazer over a t-shirt that says something like, Girlhood Matters. Name is Doctor. Avery Quinn apparently wrote some paper about control dynamics in public entertainment spaces. No idea what that means for roller coasters. Maintenance guy, Tyler leans over, says she's about to ban fun completely. I tell him we already did, when we outlawed outside food. First week she's walking around the park with a clipboard, like she's auditing a hospital, wearing boots that have never touched grease in their life. She doesn't ask about brakes or emergency systems. She just watches people who checks, which guests, how close male staff stand. To girls stops at our coaster station, watches me secure a train full of families. Her eyes track every time my hand presses a restraint, ride dispatches. She pulls me aside, voice calm, but feels like a warning. Asks, how do you think it feels for a teenage girl to have a man she doesn't know pressing on her restraint? I tell her, probably better than flying out at 55 miles an hour. She doesn't even crack a smile, just scribbles something down. Next week we all get an email, blast subject line is Phase 1, redefining safety for female guests. It's like 5 paragraphs long, talking about how amusement parks are historically male-dominated and involve forced closeness. New guideline drops, female guests should be checked by female staff whenever possible, not officially required yet. But it's written in that HR tone where you know it'll be mandatory. Soon problem is our crew is like 75%, guys, female staff, mostly running kiddie rides or ticket booths. Supervisors try shuffling schedules, stick more women on the big coaster. Still nowhere near enough lines, already suck, now they get worse. She starts showing up at the station with a stopwatch, literally counting how many times a male operator presses down a restraint. For a woman sends out friendly feedback emails. When the numbers are too high, full of phrases like boundary awareness and unconscious contact. Summer kicks in heat, crowds, teenagers everywhere, crop tops, flip-flops. Dads in cargo shorts looking exhausted. Phase 1 already slowing everything down. She calls it long-term cultural recalibration. Apparently, physics doesn't apply to HR mid-June. She drags all ride ops into an old party room. Walls still have faded cartoon cowboys on them. Session title pops up, touch, authority, and perceived necessity. Instantly know, this is going to be painful. She starts explaining how men historically use safety as a reason to touch. Women says restraint checks are basically normalized violations. Guy from the water ride raises his hand, says if we don't slam the bar down, it can pop loose on hills. She says, we'll address equipment dependency later. Nobody likes that answer. Then she introduces her solution, verbal consent before any physical check. We're supposed to ask every female guest before touching the restraint. Puts a script on the screen. I'm going to check your restraint now, is that okay? Like we're proposing marriage. Meanwhile, there's music blasting, people yelling, trains stacking up. But fine, we do it. Every check turns into, hey, I'm going to push this down. Okay? Most people just nod. Some look confused. Others get uncomfortable. Line keeps growing. Dispatch. Times slow to a crawl. Regional manager sends an email about throughput dropping. She fires back with, "We will not compromise dignity for efficiency." Mechanics start joking. If we cared about dignity, we'd fix the speakers that screech all day. July hits, heat feels like standing inside a fryer. Weekend crowds stretch halfway to the parking lot. Then phase 2 drops email titled Safe Seating and Gaze Management. Main rule: no man can sit directly next to a woman he doesn't know unless she specifically agrees. Calls it buffer. Seating says, too many women are stuck next to male strangers in restraints. Translation: we now have to rearrange seating, like it's a puzzle. Families are fine, mixed groups are a nightmare. We start announcing over the mic. Does anyone object to sitting next to a male rider? Crowd just stares at us like we're insane. Teenagers laugh, dads turn bright red. If nobody says anything, we still can't pair a random guy next to a solo girl. So we leave seats empty instead. Coaster, that used to send out 24 people, now sometimes rolls out with like 16 lines, starts groaning every time gates open. Avery calls it a meaningful capacity adjustment. One afternoon, a bunch of college girls show up joking about girl math coaster logic. They actually like the idea. At first, then they realize they've been standing there almost an extra hour. Mood flips instantly by mid-July. Staff morale is basically melted sunscreen and quiet anger. Avery notices some of the female attendants aren't enforcing seating rules. Superhard starts pulling them aside for one-on-one coaching. They come back looking drained, barely talking. End of July, phase 3, email drops, subject line, Sisterhood of Safety. Women supporting women. She's creating this volunteer group of female employees called Sisters of Safety. Purple vests, special badges. Whole identity: they're supposed to take ownership of ride spaces. New rule is crystal clear. Now male operators are not allowed to physically touch restraints for female guests at all. We can watch from a distance, give instructions, but hands off completely. Someone asks during Q&A, what if the bar obviously isn't locked? Avery says, your vision is enough. Your hands have dominated long enough. We all mentally run the numbers. Weekend crews usually have maybe 2 women, sometimes just 1. Avery brushes it off, says more sisters will join. As culture evolves, culture apparently grows faster than hiring. First weekend under full rules turns into chaos. Friday night, storm rolls, through air gets thick and gross. Coaster line explodes, because everything else shut earlier. We've got 1 actual trained female op, Megan, solid worker, plus 2 sisters pulled from retail. Barely know how restraints even function. Avery standing nearby with her notebook looking proud, like she's witnessing history. Train pulls in, people unload, next group boards. I'm at the control panel doing visual checks. See a couple in row 3, mom and kid. In row 4, group of girls arguing about front row, like it's life or death. Normally I'd walk the train fast, slam every bar down, tug belts, listen for clicks. Now I'm stuck at the console, hands literally behind my back, like I'm on trial. Megan runs the rows, handling women. 2 guys handle the men. The sisters just kinda hover, soft voices like, does that feel tight enough? We dispatch late, but nothing breaks. I'm soaked in sweat, staring at restraints more than the track. Then Saturday hits the Big One Park, running a promo with some huge family vlog channel and local influencers. Plus, rumor is a state inspector is walking around management. Losing it wants perfect operations, no issues. No viral disasters. Avery sees it as her big showcase moment. Station's extra sisters. At the coaster adds fresh purple decals on the platform floor. Women's safety zone. Printed everywhere. I'm lead operator for the afternoon. Stomach feels like it's eating itself. First few cycles are fine, but slow director radios us. Pick up the pace. Avery radios right after stay aligned with protocol. We're stuck in the middle, getting crushed. Late afternoon, sun hits the track, metal shining line, still wrapped past the food stands, next train. Loads with regular guests. Not influencers, just random people. But the inspector is now standing off to the side, watching Avery right there too. Arms crossed, laser focus. Front row has a woman in a yellow tank top, probably early 30s, friend sitting next to her, both hyped, talking nonstop. Megan checks their restraint, pushes it down, gets a click, moves on. One of the sisters behind her looks unsure, presses lightly in the middle. Bar shifts a little from my angle at the panel. I see the gap not huge, but enough that my brain flags it instantly, like something just feels off. I call out, "Row 1, recheck please." Megan starts heading back. Avery steps in front of her, says, "We already had female verification." "Don't undermine it," I say. "That bar looks high." She cuts back with, "Trust your team." Megan freezes for a second, looking between us like she's stuck in the middle of a divorce, inspector watching everything, clipboard. Ready, my hand slipping on the console edge, Avery leans closer to me, voice quiet but sharp. We are not repeating invasive checks to satisfy male discomfort. My thumb hovering over the green dispatch, people in the train start cheering, chanting for us to go. My brain splitting in half. Rules say, don't touch job, says, don't send unsafe train. All I can think is if that bar lifts on the first drop, I'll replay it forever. I hit the red stop button, brakes slam, train jerks, crowd. Immediately annoyed, Avery snaps at me. "Ethan, what was that?" Inspector raises an eyebrow. Megan, already moving back to the front row, plants both hands on the bar, pushes hard. 2 more clicks slam into place, loud, metallic, clunk. Everyone hears it. Woman in the front laughs awkwardly, says, "Yeah, that did feel kinda loose." Her friend nods. "Good thing you checked again." Avery's face just drains like someone turned the color off. Inspector steps closer, asks, "What's your official verification process?" Avery opens her mouth. Nothing comes out. "Right?" He turns to Megan, asks if she felt resistance the first time. She says, "It moved a little, but I figured it was set." Her eyes already glossy like she knows what's coming next. Inspector turns to me, asks why I hit the stop. I point straight at the restraint, say the gap looked wrong, just felt off. Not something you measure, more like instinct. Like knowing rain's coming before you see clouds. Avery tries to cut in, starts talking about male staff struggling to adapt away from tactile control. Inspector raises his hand, mid-sentence says, "I'm asking about mechanical safety. Orders, a full test cycle, empty train, multiple passes. Mechanics checking every row, they find a couple seats, a little stiff, nothing broken, but they only lock properly. If you actually push hard, also turns out the sisters were trained to press lightly. Basically stop once the guest says it feels okay. Not when the system actually locks Inspector writing notes, like he's trying to stab the paper." Later that night, I get pulled into an office, just me, Avery, Inspector, and a corporate guy. Inspector asks me to walk through everything, step by step. I explain training changes, the new rules, why I hesitated, why I hit. Stop. He nods. Slowly, says that hesitation probably avoided a serious situation. My legs feel weak hearing that. Avery jumps in. Immediately says there was never any real risk, claims he's exaggerating to undermine progressive safety. Leadership Inspector calmly asks her for documentation, training materials, engineering approvals. She hands over this glossy booklet, pastel colors, diagrams about personal space. Nothing about sensors, locking thresholds, or fail systems. Corporate legal guy finally speaks up, asks if procedures were changed without manufacturer input. Avery says they were adapted to remove harmful bias. Room gets colder instantly. Next week is chaos, but not the fun kind. Half the park running rides, other half stuck in meetings. Inspector launches full audit talks to mechanics, reviews, camera footage. Finds multiple clips where restraints stop just short of locking, sisters tapping them lightly and walking away. Male operators standing there visibly frustrated. Guest complaints start surfacing too. Emails about loose restraints. People confused why certain staff can't check them. One mom literally writes, "If a guy checking my kid's seat is oppression, I'll take it." That bachelorette group posts a TikTok title basically roasting the 2-hour wait caused by safety feminism. Video blows up corporate sends down their own safety director woman in her 50s. Steel toe boots, zero nonsense energy. She goes through everything, then meets with female staff privately. No, Avery in the room actually listens. They tell her straight up. They felt talked down to use like props, not treated like adults who can say, push it harder. Megan admits she almost quit after that weekend felt stuck between doing her job right and following rules that didn't work. 2 weeks later, mandatory all-staff meeting, same cafeteria as before. Manager looks like he hasn't slept in days next to him. Corporate safety director and legal. Avery sitting off to the side, arms crossed, jaw tight, hair streak faded out. Manager thanks everyone for being honest during audit, then puts up a slide title, just says findings. Bullet points hit, hard, unauthorized safety. Changes poor training, major slowdown in operations. Documented near miss, incident next slide, shows a still frame, front row restraint, halfway down timestamp. From that day, legal guy says, if that train had gone and something happened, this is evidence in court. Room goes dead silent. You can hear the coaster outside through the walls. Corporate safety director steps forward, says, all sisterhood policies are revoked. Immediately, restraint checks go back to manufacturer procedure, no exceptions. Everyone gets retrained. Then manager turns toward Avery voice. Flat says after review, she's no longer employed at the park, or any partner locations adds, guest safety is not an experiment. Avery stands up, tries to launch into a speech about backlash and resistance. Nobody gives her the mic. She just walks out next, shifts. The sisters ditch the purple vests back to normal uniforms, honestly look relieved week later. New HR memo drops written by some corporate suit nobody's ever seen. Short, simple. Almost perfect, treat guests with respect. Don't act weird, secure restraints firmly until locked. If unsure, stop. The ride park slowly goes back to normal. Chaos crowds, loud rides clanking, checks fast and solid. Again one afternoon, a mom in the front row. Thanks me, says, she feels safer. Seeing me really shove the bar down for her kid. I laugh, tell her gravity doesn't care about feelings. Month later, inspector comes back, watches a few cycles, gives a small nod, quietly tells me, good decision, hitting that stop. On break, I walk past the wall where Avery's big poster used to be. All that stuff about redefining safety space is gone, now replaced with evacuation maps, big arrows pointing to exits standing there. I realize something. For the first time in months, I'm listening to the ride. Again, not worrying about saying the wrong thing, park actually feels safer. Now funny how that works. Turns out the best way to protect people on a roller coaster is just to lock the bar all the way down and keep ideology out of the control panel.